Welcome to Basic Brewing Radio for Thursday, July 6th, 2023. I'm James Spencer. Here at Basic Brewing Radio, we're all about home brewing. This week, Chris Colby of Beer and Gardening Journal and I formulate a delicious IPA-ish recipe with honey and peach juice. Sounds like a great summertime beer. We also taste our extremely low-gravity, but satisfying and tasty Texas table beer. If you want to support us financially, check out patreon.com/basicbrewing. Thanks to everybody who's helping out in that way. If you go to patreon.com/basicbrewing, you can see a long list of stuff that you can access if you sign up as a supporter. Financial supporters or Patreon subscribers have already seen the video that I'm planning to post to the general public this Friday. It's of Steve and me sitting on a dock on a pond in the hot sun, tasting the beer that Chris and I will taste in this very episode. Why are we on a pond? Well, we also recorded a show tasting the Pond Hopper Golden Ale that Matt Giovanisi and I formulated. I thought it was going to be a nice day. Turned out it was pretty hot. Hot and sunny. Not as hot as it's been lately, but it was still kind of toasty and roasty. And we were approached from the air by a distraction, a large distraction that I left in the video. Along with the early release, subscribers also got the recipe and a special behind-the-scenes video of the beer coming together on my stovetop. I've got 3 more episodes in the can that we recorded in San Diego during HomebrewCon that are coming up. I plan to run another one of those next week and then run an episode that I recorded in June with nomadic brewer Barrett Tillman of Black Man Brewing. He's got a very interesting story and a different approach to entering the professional brewing world. It's really great having so many good interviews waiting in the wings. I told you a few weeks ago that SiriusXM is killing the podcast app Stitcher. It's the one that I've been using for years, but apparently I'm in the very small minority based on the feedback that I got. So that's good news. Thanks to everybody chiming in on my Facebook post and in emails and such. I decided to follow my friend John's recommendation and try Overcast. It seems easy to use, no nonsense, and I was able to export my podcast list from Stitcher to Overcast. So, tragedy avoided. I've got my ingredients on the way for the beer that Chris and I formulated for this episode. Of course, I ordered them from our friends and sponsors Desiree and Dave of HighGravityBrew.com. I used the Build Your Own Beer page, which allowed me to create and name my beer even, so I could group all the ingredients. That comes in handy when you're building more than one beer and, say, want to mill all the ingredients together into separate groups. And I'm going to brew that beer using my Warthog electric system from HighGravityBrew.com. Desiree and Dave are electric brewing pioneers. They were on the front end of the electric brewing movement when it still seemed like a novelty. But now, according to the latest Brewlosophy survey, around 64% of respondents, if I read it correctly, 64% of the respondents are brewing with electricity. By the way, you should definitely check out the Brewlosophy survey. A lot of interesting information. Some predictable, some not. If you're among those still clinging onto propane, let Desiree and Dave take the pain out of propane with a new Warthog system or controller. They can help you customize an electric solution that's perfect for you. And if you use the code EBC75BB, you can save $75 off your Warthog purchase. That's at family-owned and operated HighGravityBrew.com. That's HighGravityBrew.com. Okay, I wanted to sneak this episode into the lineup along with all the HomebrewCon stuff because I want to keep up with our recipe development series. I want to keep that going along. And I want to use my steam juicer again with a hoppy beer this time. I called in Dr. Chris Colby of beerandgardeningjournal.com to help. Chris Colby, welcome back to Basic Brewing Radio.
Hey, James. Thanks for having me on the show.
It's been a little bit.
Yeah.
Are you ready to Are you ready to taste your Texas table beer?
I sure am.
I had, no offense, but I had low expectations for this beer. Let's just start out.
I am offended. Oh, wait, no offense. Never mind, I'm not.
That's right. I can say horrible things to you after I say no offense. I could say things about your
yeah,
I could say things about your lineage, your
yeah. Personal hygiene,
your place of birth.
intelligence. Yeah.
No offense.
No offense.
So I guess we should start with the story of how you got this beer.
Sure.
I sent you a 6-pack, 3 of each, and I thought as usual, I thought I overpacked it, and I sent it to you via a certain UPS. I'll just say it, UPS.
Certain UPS.
I was going to be clever, but a few days later, you said, "So did you got a tracking number on that thing?" And I said, "What?" And so I went into stamps.com and I got the track, and it said like damaged and headed back to you, essentially. So I said, "Great, they must have run over this thing with a truck." So the next day, I got this box that was in pristine condition, and I said, "Wait a minute, that's not the box I sent." So I opened it up. They broke 2 of the bottles somehow, but then they took the rest of the bottles out and they repackaged them with like stronger bubble wrap or whatever, put it in a new box and sent it back to me. So I just put everything back in and sent it back to you. But then a few days later, I got a letter in the mail from UPS saying, do you want to submit a damage report for the stuff that we broke? And they listed the contents as something like unidentified liquid in beer bottles or something like that. So
I wonder what it could be.
Well, they tasted it and they said, "This doesn't taste like beer." No, they actually were going to just steal the whole thing, but they drank 2 of them and they were like, "Oh no, let's send it back."
Yeah, probably.
So anyway, what you've got is well-traveled beers, and I hope they're not, damaged by the heat or whatever, because I understand it's warm down there.
Oh my!
It's warm up here, but I'm not going to complain about it because I know that you get it a lot worse.
At least the power grid is holding up. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, but knock wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve and I spent most of last week, in San Diego in like 70-degree high weather with no humidity. It was like I was wearing jeans in June, which is incredible. Okay, so Texas table beer. If you'll recall back from the previous episode, I made based on our conversation, I made a 2-gallon or 7.5 liter batch of this Texas table beer. Started out with 3 gallons or 11.4 liters of water at 164 degrees Fahrenheit or 73 C. Into that, I put 11 ounces or 312 grams each American two-row, wheat malt, and flaked oats. And remember, this is a Texas table beer. This is supposed to be sort of themed along the Texas ingredient thing. I rested at 158 degrees Fahrenheit or 70 C, which is a little hotter, at 15 minutes. So short, warm mash rest. I boiled for an hour. At the beginning of that 60-minute boil, I put 3 grams of Horizon at 13% alpha acid. At flame out, I put the zest from a grapefruit. So I just went to the store and I took a little grater and I got the zest off of it and put there at the end of the boil, immediately chilled, and pitched 4 grams of Saf Ale US-05. The original gravity 1021, final gravity 1012, for an ABV of 1.2%. And then I monkeyed with it. I spiced it up a little bit. But let's taste the base beer first.
Okie dokie.
What say? You got yours there, and
It's right here.
I'll be positioned to run over to the sink if it. No. Oh. No drama.
Mine's foaming a little bit.
Oh yeah, it's lively.
It's lively beer.
And Steve and I have already tasted this for a video episode, and by the time this plays, the financial subscribers will have already seen that. Ooh, that's a pretty beer.
Yeah, it's very light, which I
Yeah,
guess is not unexpected at 1.2% alcohol and all pale malts and
yeah, and wheat and oats. Um, oh, and the it's got to you have to pour carefully because there's some schmutz in the bottom of the glass.
yeah.
When I fermented it in the fermenter, it looked like Bisquick dumplings were floating on the top of the
Mm.
of the beer after fermentation. So it was a little difficult to get, very clean. Especially when I was dosing it with the secret ingredient coming up next. Boy, it's effervescent.
Yeah. And don't say Bisquick beer because someone will make it.
Oh.
That'll be on Bisquick IPA. God damn it.
With a little bit of gravy.
A little bit of gravy.
It smells good. I think I can smell the grapefruit.
Yeah.
I think that's lovely.
Yeah, I would. I mean, the idea of a table beer is a low alcohol beer, and the Texas idea was also that it's hotter than insert your favorite saying after that, but it's hot as hell out, and if you're like me and you're a gardener, or if you do anything outside, any sports or whatever, it would be nice to have a nice fizzy, refreshing beer, because you don't want when it's over 100 and you're just like soaked through in sweat. You don't want a barrel aged imperial stout,
Unless it's the only thing in the house.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about? To me, it reminds me of a Radler. Because
a little bit, yeah.
Because
probably the citrus and the and the light, yeah.
So, what do you think? Did it come out the way that you expected?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it's always hard to understand, look at a recipe and get the exact flavor from it. But yeah, I mean, it turned out light in color, low in gravity. I thought it was surprising that it only fermented down to 10-12. That's I thought it was going to go down to like 10:02 or something.
Huh. Well, I think that maybe that short warm mash rest, maybe had a lot to do with it. I don't know. You're the scientist.
Yeah, that should have contributed to a less fermentable wort. But I thought less fermentable was just it wasn't going to ferment down to like essentially zero. Which when you get down that low, it's possible. But yeah,
I actually like it.
Yeah.
And I'm tempted to brew a whole 5 gallons. The only critique that Steve Wilkes had was he wished it had maybe just a little bit of caramel malt, just to give it a little more body. Just maybe in this recipe, maybe just a couple ounces or 56 grams or whatever, just to kind of like beef up the backbone a little bit.
And if you knocked it up to like a red or an amber color, that's not bad either.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I like this way though. I mean, it's just it's even with the comparatively high final gravity, it's just light and crisp, and yeah, it's good.
I mean, it's a prettier, more attractive cousin to like a seltzer.
Yeah.
It's more beery than a seltzer, but it's light, and this one is effervescent, and it drinks kind of like a seltzer in that it's not heavy at all. But I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, and yet there's some malt character to it.
Exactly.
Right, it's low, but then again, you know that going in. So
what I did is I turned into Leon Redbone. I racked the beer from the fermenter into a Mr. Beer keg. I bottled off 9 bottles plain. Then the rest of there were 8 bottles. There was 8 bottles worth of beer left in the Mr. Beer keg. So I had a jalapeno tincture that I made with half a cup of vodka, and a sliced jalapeno, fresh jalapeno. And I put 30 milliliters of that into what was left over. So the second beer that you have is a jalapeno tinctured beer. So I'm gonna position myself where I can run over to the sink if I need to.
Oh.
Ah!
Oh, there it goes.
Yeah. For some reason, it's a little more active than the other one.
This one foamed up a little. Nothing.
Yeah, mine wanted to come out.
Nothing earth-shattering.
And I don't know if that's... Ooh! Boy, you can smell the pepper.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just, re-fermentation of the sugars of the pepper. I don't know.
There was more sediment in this one, and I think it's little pieces of pepper.
Well,
that are just
actually,
acting as nucleation sites.
Oh, okay. Well, that explains it. They're not. It's not pieces of pepper. What that is some of those dumplings.
The dumplings.
Because the first 9 that I bottled out of the keg were mostly dumpling free. But then when I added the pepper tincture, I had to stir up what was left. And so, there was more stuff in the. So yeah, having more particulate. Yeah, that would make sense.
Nucleation sites.
So it smells good. You can smell the grapefruit. You can smell the jalapeno.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one interesting thing about jalapeno in beer is that it always seems to work out great. Like, I remember way back in the day, there was a beer called Cave Creek Chili Beer that was with Serrano. And it never really tasted like Serrano's that much. I mean, there was some heat, and it just, I don't know. But every jalapeno beer that I've ever had, you like smell it and taste it, and you're like, yeah, that's jalapeno, all right. It's, I don't know, for whatever the chemistry of jalapeno seems to work well in beer. And if you like that, it's easy to achieve something good.
Yeah. Yeah, the tincture way is a good way to. I mean, you can just put jalapenos in your fermenter, but the tincture way is a good way to put a measured amount of the flavor in there, and you can taste it as you go along, which is what I did.
Right.
So is it better or worse than the original, or just different?
It's just different. The first one is nice in that it's like we said, just crisp and effervescent and thirst quenching. And this you would have to slow down a little bit, if you tried to just you get some chili heat burns.
Yeah, there's a bit of heat. I think it's a success. Like I say, I went into it with, kind of like, okay, I'll do a small batch of this, but, and there's only, there's only a couple of bucks worth of ingredients. It should be all right. But I actually like it. So congratulations. Good job.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I like session beers, like we've, I think every home brewer has gone through the sort of, big beer fascination, and, you brew something at a super high ABV and, but I don't know, maybe I'm just getting old and boring, but not really nice session beer, and something you can have like a, big 20-ounce pints of and a couple without just, being discombobulated afterwards. It's a good thing, I think.
Yeah. I'm really excited to brew this beer that we're going to formulate here in just a moment. It's been a little while since I've had a big, delicious hoppy beer on tap, and it's a great time to use the latest hybrid strain from our friends and sponsors at Imperial Yeast. I-10 Mangostini is a natural combination of 2 different yeast strains. It's been developed for excellent attenuation, prompt reduction of diacetyl, and features a robust flavor profile of ripe tropical fruit, strawberry, and lychee that would go great in a big American IPA. And I figure it would go great with a big American IPA with peach juice. I-10 Mangostini is not a GMO product, Dr. Matt Winans has told us on this show how they coax two different strains to combine DNA naturally instead of budding, which is what yeast normally does. In addition to innovation, Imperial is known for having a pitch rate of 200 billion cells in each easy-to-open package. Say it with me. My stir plate is dusty because I don't use it anymore to make starters for moderate gravity 5-gallon batches, and my airlocks are usually bubbling before bedtime. I'll keep you updated on my peachy IPA brewed with I-10 mangostini. In the meantime, get your own at your local homebrew store and check out all the delicious and dependable strains at imperialyeast.com. That's imperialyeast.com. I have a new challenge for you.
Uh-oh.
A couple of things. I'm inspired by two things. In the most recent episode we did with mead maker Tim Lieber, he had a peach mead that was made with the juice from some peaches, made with the steam juicer, and it was so good that I wanted to do that, but bring it into a beer. So that's the first part of the challenge. The second part is, I just got back from HomebrewCon, and I got more ingredients. I didn't get hops this time, but I got more grain, and I still had some grain left over from last year's HomebrewCon. I think it's still going to be good because it's still all sealed up and everything. So I've got this list of ingredients that we can pull from to make what I'm thinking of is like a nice hoppy beer with peach juice, these leftover ingredients, and I've got a couple of packages of I-10 mangostini, which is the new hybrid yeast from Imperial.
Oh.
And that is supposed to have a lot of tropical fruit character and such as that. So I think that together with the peach and some like juicy American hops, I think that sounds like a really delicious beer.
Sure.
So here's the list of stuff I got. 1 pound or 450 grams of American honey malt, the same amount of caramel 20. I think all of these are Briess, by the way. 4 ounces, so that's an ounce is 28 grams.
Yes.
4 ounces of blonde roast oat malt, SRM 6. 4 ounces of victory malt, SRM 28. 4 ounces of extra special malt, SRM 130. And then left over from another project, I have 7 ounces of flaked oats. Oh, left over from this Texas beer project, I have 7 ounces of flaked oats. So we got honey malt, 20 Lovibond caramel, blonde roast oat malt, victory, extra special malt, and then flaked oats. So keep those in the back of your head as we're formulating this recipe. So what do you think? What do you think would go well with all those goals combined?
Okay, so you want a sort of hoppy peach beer, and you've got a yeast strain that sort of accentuates or creates fruity flavors.
Right.
I would follow through on that with pick some hop varieties that show the passion fruit, the fruity aspect, and one I might pick in addition that sort of go along with those, find some, pick a couple of those New Zealand hops that have the that really fruity character, and maybe some Amarillo, because Amarillo's, like, at least reputedly, some people describe it as having an apricot character to it, and I don't know if I agree with that exactly, but it's great, and I think it would work well with peach. And then the other thought I had was one of your malts was honey malt. Mix a little honey malt in the grist with a little actual honey in the fermenter or in the boil. Well, actually, you could do it either way. And then that'll dry out the beer a little bit, although the honey malt will counteract that a bit. And there you go. You could have a nice beer. And then another thing to think about is what color do you want it? Yeah, you've got some of that 130 Lovibond special malt, do you want to turn this into like an amber, copper red colored type beer, or do you want to keep it pale?
Yeah, let's go a little. Let's bring a little color into it. I think that's a good idea. And I've got a local honey guy who texted me the other day and said, "Hey, I've got some. I've got the good stuff." It's like a drug dealer. I'm meeting him in the Walmart parking lot.
You got the good stuff.
but yeah, so I got some. I can get my hands on some local honey.
Nice.
I haven't used honey malt before. That'll be interesting. So
they describe it as tasting like honey, and kind of, it tastes like honey malt, and it's like chocolate malt in that, if people say it tastes like chocolate, you're like, well, not really.
Exactly.
But you can certainly see, the similarities.
Yes.
And it's got a little bit of also, it's like a lower grade biscuit.
Yeah, I read toasty character as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, somebody on YouTube commented and said, couldn't you use, I commented on one of her videos, couldn't you use honey malt to make a braggot? I was like, no. I mean, you could use a honey malt and braggot, but honey and honey malt are different things, and they're going to have different results if you put them in your beer. So how should we start? Let's do what, 6.5% on this one?
Yeah. It's a good target. Yeah, I mean, you'd start, of course, with just some pale malt, and I don't know, for a 5-gallon batch, about 10 pounds, given that we're going to add some more stuff, would be a good,
right,
a good place to start.
Right.
And then you can adjust that later if need be.
Sounds good.
And then you mentioned flaked oats.
Yes, I have on hand 7 ounces of flaked oats.
I think either that or that paired with some wheat, like flaked wheat or torrefied wheat or any of that would be good. It would add a little bit of well, you know what oats add to a beer, and wheat, and probably a little bit of haze, but that's okay. That's okay in a fruit IPA, and especially these days.
Mm-hmm. Kids today
with their hazies. Yeah, I'd go, and for a 5-gallon batch, I'd go with about a pound of flaked oats as a starter. First time around.
How about 7 ounces of flaked oats?
Sure,
because that's what I got.
That sounds like the perfect amount.
And I don't know what blonde roast oat malt is. I assume that's malted oats that have been roasted to 6 SRM.
Yeah,
I don't know if that would go in there as well. I don't know.
Try it. You could, just take some out of the bag and chew it and think, do I want this in my beer or not?
It's got we've got 4 ounces of that.
So that would be like 11 ounces of oats combined.
Oat products.
Or 0.69 pounds. Or 0.31 kilograms. Yeah, so that'd be a good start, and relatively pale. Then I would go, if we're gonna add honey malt, I would go easy on it. Like I said, it's got a little bit of a biscuity character, and I think too much in this sort of beer is just gonna not work well. But like a half pound of honey malt,
okay,
for 5 gallons, and then add a pound of honey to that, and you're at an OG of 1.068, which will get you to 6.6% ABV. If it ferments down to 17, which would be the 75% attenuation. We get a little bit more of that.
And I'm thinking of putting the peach juice in the keg.
Yeah.
And not fermenting it.
Not fermenting. Okay, so ending up with some residual sweetness.
Mm-hmm. And that fresh peach character.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't know how much.
that might be something to do as like a bench trial.
like a tasting
Yeah, let's take. I mean,
kind
you
of a
could
thing.
even, yeah, you could even just take a commercial IPA and mix it with a little bits of it and figure out the sort of ratio, and then
Hmm.
use that as a guide for when you mix your actual batch.
Yeah. So what's our malt bill again? We got 10 pounds of two row.
10 pounds of two row, 11 ounces of various oat products, half a pound of honey malt, and 1 pound locally sourced honey.
Okay. And then I'll put the I don't want to put the honey in the keg or in the kettle because I don't want people to yell at me.
Yeah, you could either ferment the beer and then add that like in secondary and have a a reignited fermentation, or you could just put it, wait till knockout and pour it in.
Yeah, that's probably what I'll do. Just the easiest way.
Yeah.
Put it all in there together. Won't have to worry about opening a fermenter or adding things in as it's going. Okay, now hops. I don't have any leftover hops to speak of, so we can start fresh.
Yeah, I would go to, one of those sites that describes the New Zealand hops and just start going through and look for passion fruit, or look for, the mention of any sort of fruit that's going to go well with both the peaches you add and the flavors from the yeast strain you have.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd also throw in some Amarillo just because I like Amarillo. I mean, good Amarillo hops. If it's a good year, those are really
right.
really nice hops. And I know these days there's been a billion new hop strains introduced since, but
And should we just lay down a base layer of IBUs with some like a Magnum or something that's just a good bittering hop?
yeah, I would shoot for like about between 60 and 65 IBUs, given that we're going to start at just lower than 70, 1070 starting gravity, and then aim for maybe an ounce and a half of hops added right at knockout, and then another ounce and a half at for dry hopping.
Okay, so maybe an ounce of a nice.
Yeah, to do like Magnum or one of those just brutally high alpha ones for the bittering hops.
Yeah, but then maybe an ounce of say the New Zealand at flame out with half an ounce of Amarillo, and then and then maybe reverse it for dry hopping.
yeah, that would work.
I'm partial to Nelson Sauvin hops, but because well, you were there, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
We've seen them harvested, so
we have.
You were there, and you were there, and you were there.
And who the hell are you?
we've actually seen them harvested, so maybe I don't know, but I'll look and see what high gravity has, and
Nelson Sauvin is great. It's got that. Well, they describe it as like a white wine note,
right,
and it's sure, one of those. Those are the descriptions always are a bit fanciful, I think, but it's a good flavorful hop, and in the right beer where you want that sort of aromatic that it brings. That's a good thing.
Would that go well with peach?
I don't know. I think I would go more with like Motueka or however you pronounce that, or something like that. Or
yeah. We can. I'll look them up. We'll get some good New Zealand hops, sweet as in there. So what else?
There is a hop called Huel Melon.
Oh yeah, I think we've had that.
It tastes, again, the description is like a honeydew melon, and that's actually like this closer than usual to describing it. That would seem peaches and melons.
Actually, and is that a New Zealand hop or is that a German hop?
I think that's German.
Yeah. Maybe peaches and melon. That doesn't sound good. I don't know. I'll find something fun. Something fun and Amarillo for for the end of boil or flame out and for dry hopping. But yeah, I think that with the mangostini in there would be good. I think what I'll do is I'll probably draw off a 6-pack or so of the pre-fruited beer.
Sure.
Because it's probably not a smart move to send you beers with unfermented fruit juice in it. Because, it's got to go down there. They've got to break a few and then send it back. And then I got to send it back down there. Yeah. It's probably going to be 1,000 degrees.
Special heat treatment. Yeah.
So what else? I mean, it sounds like a pretty, basic as far as technique is concerned. It doesn't sound like anything fancy or...
Yeah, it would be something where you would make the wort with just a single infusion mash. Boil for like 90 minutes and add the hops in the last 60, or even boil for 60 minutes and add the hops at the beginning. And just you should put some gypsum in your water. Get a reasonably reasonable amount of sulfate in there to accentuate the hop bitterness. And yeah, I mean, would be pretty straightforward, like British ale type procedures, and then at the end you would add the apricot, or not apricot, the peach flavor.
You've got apricot on the brain today.
Apricot on my brain.
I'm real happy with the way this series is going. I'm enjoying the creative process. We've gotten good feedback from people who like this series. I like the fact that we can taste the results of the previous recipe, and we're getting together and we're talking about beers that we want to brew, getting new ideas and having some fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes, you are correct, sir.
You're correct, sir. Yes, having fun, a lot of fun. Yes. So
it was so hot out. How hot was it?
How hot is it?
And son Ed went skinny dipping in his vodka rocks glass.
Yes.
Yes, you are correct, sir.
It was so hot outside that Charles could only utter one coochie. Hi-oh.
Hi-oh.
Yes. All right. We've gone into it, and this is only with 1.2% beer. So imagine.
Yeah. Imagine if we gone crazy and brewed a 3% alcohol beer.
Slow down, Grandpa.
Yeah. And another thing, I'll tell you.
Get off my lawn. Oh, what's happening on Beer and Gardening Journal?
Crazily enough, recently I did a little bit of a series on session beers.
Oh.
And, gardening stuff. Excellent. So, yeah, session beers has been the most recent thing.
All right, Chris Colby. Until next time, watch your UPS mailbox.
I'll have to.
Quit cheesing off your UPS drivers so they quit destroying your package.
They must have really done a number on that, because normally when you send me beer, it's packed to the nines.
Me?
Every individual bottle is it's got at least a layer of bubble wrap, if not 2 layers around it. And
and then the whole thing is inside a trash bag.
Yeah.
So imagine me being obsessed about anything.
I know, crazy. Yeah, they must have been playing soccer with it or something.
They gave me a new box so you couldn't see the tire marks.
I guess so. Yeah.
On the old one. All right. I'm going to hit the stop button. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks again to Chris. I'm hoping to have that beer in the fermenter by the next time I talk to you guys. Really looking forward to it. If you have brewing questions in the meantime, show suggestions, or just want to say howdy, write to james@basicbrewing.com, or just fill out the contact form on basicbrewing.com, and please don't forget to tell us where you're from. Check out our mobile-friendly shop at basicbrewingshop.com. Thanks to everybody supporting us through our Patreon page. Special goodies coming your way. Check that out at patreon.com/basicbrewing. It's all until next time. Until then, thanks for listening, everybody. I'm James Spencer. Production help for Basic Brewing Radio and our website is provided by Kelly Dodson. Basic Brewing Radio is a production of Active Voicing. We'll talk to you next time, everybody. In the meantime, stay well and stay tuned. So long.